Hello and thanks for joining us. From a breathtakingly beautiful kung fu movie to an Oscar-winning performance in a harrowing drama about a mother and son imprisoned by a psychotic abuser. Welcome to Encore's fantastic film show.
You're gonna love it.
What?
The world.
And I'm joined by film critic Lisa Nesselson. Hello, Lisa.
Louise.
Now, we're going to start with a film I haven't been able to stop thinking about since I watched it. I deliberately didn't read the book back in 2010 because I knew what the premise of it was. And it's very scary, especially as we know that real-life cases such as Joseph Fritzl and Nancy and Philip Garrido actually took place where they imprisoned people for years.
Well, the fact that we do know that people were sequestered against their will for insane periods of time, 10 years, 16 years, 24, what have you, actually really does add something to this story. People ask me, should they rush out to see it? And my honest reaction is, you can walk at a leisurely pace to see it. I saw it in October at the Chicago Film Festival as a surprise film, and they have a day where if you wear a festival T-shirt, they let you into a movie. You have no idea what it is. The woman next to me, I think, was hoping for a sneak preview of Star Wars or something flashy. And after about 5 minutes, she said, it's not just going to be two people in a room, is it? In fact, for a great deal of the film, it is just two people in a room, but two very interesting people. A young woman named Joy and her son, Jack. Let's take a look.
For 5 years.
I was walking home
Where
from school.
was I?
You were still up in heaven. But there was a guy, he pretended that his dog was
What
sick.
guy?
Old Nick. We call him Old Nick. I don't know what his real name is. But he pretended his dog was sick.
What's the dog's name?
Jack, there wasn't a dog. He was trying to trick me. Okay? There wasn't a dog. Old Nick stole me.
I want a different story.
No, this is the story that you get. He put me in his garden shed. Here. Room is the shed.
So Joy was kidnapped by this man when she was just a teenager, and she'd been kept in this room for, I think it was 7 years or so. Brie Larson won the Best Actress Oscar Award, beating people like Jennifer Lawrence and Cate Blanchett. Is it a mind-blowing performance?
It's a very fine, nuanced, convincing performance. I wouldn't say my mind was blown. She is completely convincing, as I guess she would be 24-year-old Joy, but there would not be a movie without that little boy's wonderful performance. Jacob Tremblay plays her 5-year-old son who knows nothing of the world beyond room, and we see things through his eyes. And I have to say, you ask yourself, what would it be like if this happened to you? Most people can't go 5 minutes without checking their phone. 7 years without looking at Facebook or receiving or sending a text. That's kind of mind-blowing.
And Jack, the young boy, was actually born in the room, wasn't he? How does he adapt to the real world?
Well, that's one of the major themes of the movie, and I'd rather not spoil that. But let's just say that when you're young, your imagination and your flexibility is in a better place, perhaps, than when you've had some experience of the outside world. If you were born in prison, you'd find that normal.
Okay, well, now to a film described in one review I read as heart-stoppingly beautiful. It's from the Taiwanese director Hu Sao-sen. Describe the assassin for us.
Well, it's a Chinese martial arts film in the saber genre, which is specific hallmarks the Chinese language audiences look for and relish. It seemed like a odd project for Hu Shaoshen, who is mostly known for his very beautiful contemplative tales. This one has a lot of action. It's gorgeous and melancholy, but depending on what you read, it was between 5 and 12 years in the making, and that really hasn't added to its linear making sensitude to those of us who don't regularly see this kind of movie. But in short, a female assassin who was raised by a nun in 8th century China during the Tang Dynasty is assigned to kill corrupt government officials, but shows them mercy instead. So her nun master is so peeved that our lovely and semi-ruthless protagonist gets another assignment, which is to go very far away and kill her cousin. And as if that weren't bad enough, they were actually once engaged to be married. They were betrothed, they were sweethearts, and she still has some feelings for him. Here are two very impressive chicks with sharp objects. Let's watch.
Now, Hu Sao-sen won the Best Directing Award at Cannes last May. Did he merit it?
Well, there are people out there, my colleagues, who, you know, if they could spend their days building little shrines to Mr. Hu and his work, they would. I have never completely understood or even scratched the surface of understanding why they are so fanatically devoted to his films, whatever they may be about. The film features many beautiful, choreographed traveling shots. It luxuriates in precision in the way it looks, not necessarily in the storytelling. And my colleagues just went on raving about it. I have to say it left me kind of cold, but for what it's worth, the film magazine Sight and Sound, ranked The Assassin the best film of 2015 in a poll of 168 critics from around the world. Here's the director describing what grabbed him about his leading lady, Shuki.
他知道我。
One of Shuki's strengths is that she manages to put across her strong personality when she acts. We worked together on the film Millennium Mambo, and I can tell you that she has a strong character. Early on in the filming, I learned that she wasn't at all impressed by my career, and she challenged me straight away.
镜头一直拍的，他没拍过。
And if you happen to be in Paris, there's a retrospective of Hu Sao-sen's work at the Cinémathèque Française, and that's going on until the end of March. Now, you just returned from the French city of Lyon, which hosted the annual convention called Cartoon Movie. Tell us more.
Well, Cartoon Movie is a trade show attended by some 750 animation professionals from 40 countries all over Europe and beyond. Attendees listen to pitches for animated films, and since it takes such a long time to make an animated film, whether you're manipulating puppets or drawing or even using computers, I got to see artwork from movies that, with luck, will be finished between now and 2021. This event is organized by Cartoon in Brussels, and in its 18 years of existence, Cartoon Movie has helped finance over 257 films to the tune of 1.8 billion euros. So in other words, animation is a big business, and Europe happens to be overflowing with talented animators.
And when we hear the word cartoon, we shouldn't think, oh, that's just for kids, should we?
Indeed, we shouldn't. Far from it. Although many of the projects are aimed at very young children, adolescents, young adults, I saw some riveting projects aimed at mature audiences.
Okay, well, what stood out for you?
Well, one movie that looks like it's going to be absolutely terrific is called The Fawn. It's an amazing project from the stop-motion animator, a Frenchman who did the award-winning short Lettres de Femme, and it's the story of a very close twin brother and sister, André and Fernand, with the trenches of World War I, a very famous real-life serial killer, the ballet russe and Nijinsky, and a cross-dressing identity switch as major plot points. Each character will be fashioned from a different kind of paper. Let's take a look.
Wow, that looks absolutely incredible. Any more recommendations?
Well, yes, there's Loving Vincent, whose trailer has gone beyond viral on the web. I think it got 35 million hits in the first 48 hours. It animates the actual brushstrokes of oil paintings in the style of Van Gogh to tell the story of his final days, and that is, for numbers mavens, 62,245 oil-painted frames. And the framing device is the delivery of a letter by a man who realizes that the circumstances of Van Gogh's death are different depending on who you talk to in the French village where he died. Another movie I cannot wait to see them make is called Domenica. It is delectably sinister, and it's based on a real-life femme fatale that I'm embarrassed to say I've never heard of. But if you do a web search for Domenica Walter Guillaume, you will find some amazingly dark information. And it turns out that it was her art collection with two husbands who died under very suspicious circumstances, which is to say they probably would have lived longer had they not married her. Their art collections actually were were the basis of what we now know as the Orangerie Museum here in Paris.
Okay, well, goodness, that's a lot of information for us. Now, we're going to wrap up with a 1968 film that's being re-released in French cinemas this week. It's called The Party.
I start giggling just thinking about it. This 1968 artifact stars Peter Sellers as a sweetly incompetent Indian actor, a gentleman from India, who wreaks havoc at a chic Hollywood party to which he should never have been admitted in about a million years. Now, today, nobody would dream of having a pasty-faced Englishman with dark makeup and an Indian accent, but the gags are hilarious, and they really hold up, and French actress Claudine Langeais is simply adorable, and there's one silly set piece after another. I'd say everybody should see The Party at least once in their life.
Well, cultural values certainly weren't the same back in 1968. It's almost 50 years ago. If someone hasn't seen it and they go and see it today, is it going to feel a bit off seeing Peter Sellers browned up?
You know, I'm old enough to think that I can place that in its time. Like I said, we would never do that now, but if you just keep in mind that that was then. I'm also a partisan of showing Birth of a Nation, in which the Ku Klux Klan is kind of heroic, but I think that's consistent with what a lot of people thought at that time. You just have to put it in context, and this context is very, very funny.
Okay, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to leave you with an extract from The Party. Remember our website, we're also on Twitter and Facebook. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
Birdie num num. Birdie num num.
That's right.
Go on.
There were 4 of us.
Go on.
2 cups.
I'll give you a lot now. Having the birdie num nums. Good, look. She's waiting for more num num. All gone. Num num is gone.